Continuing our study, our reading in Poppy's Return by Avi. Today we have two short chapters, chapter 18, Poppy and Lungwort, and chapter 19, Junior's Colors. Chapter 18, Poppy and Lungwort. The crowd quieted. A clear pathway was opened. Poppy felt her paw squeezed and Basil's voice came to her ear. "You can handle it." Poppy barely had time to nod before climbing the steps. She gave her mother a hug, or at least started to. Sweet Cicely held her daughter away and wrinkled her nose. "Poppy dear," she said, "you're older." It sounded like an accusation. Before Sweet Cicely could speak another word, Poppy heard Lungwort say, "Oh, come, Poppy, don't dawdle." He grabbed her paw even as he coughed. You and I have vital things to discuss." Poppy let herself be pulled into the house. Lily was there, frowning. Poppy smiled weakly at her, tried to hold back again, but her father led her away. Not even Sweet Cicely was allowed to come along. As Poppy went with Lungwort, she looked about in astonishment. Grey House was not the way she recalled it. It was so much more crowded. Mice were milling about like a parade that had nowhere to go. A beehive had more privacy. There hardly seemed room for living. With yelling, the principal mode of communication, Poppy's ears rang with squeak and squeal as mice talked, argued, and chatted. The calm, still world of Dimwood Forest was as distant as the moon. Within moments, Poppy and Lungwort were deep in the old farmer's boot. After the bright sun, the noisy, warm reception by her family, and the chaos of the house, Poppy found the boot gloomy, stifling. Lungwort had set his thimble cap down to one side and eased himself, with a slight cough, onto his milkweed bed. There he lay, panting and wheezing from his exertions. Poppy studied him. He had aged considerably. His face had thinned. His gaze was unsteady, his breath uneven. "He's fragile," she thought. Even the ivory thimble lacked its normal polish. All the same, she asked, "How are you, Papa?" Lungwort batted the air with a paw as if it were an irritant. "Now, Poppy, no need to waste time on chatter about foolish matters. I dislike chit-chat. We're at a monumentous point in the history of this illustrious family. One of those moments that have marked the past and will no doubt mark the future with a sense of profound history." "Papa," said Poppy, "do you mean the possible destruction of Grey House?" "Well, yes, there's that, of course. But what I had in mind in particular was your future." "Mine?" cried a startled Poppy. Don't interrupt. Just listen." Lungwort fussed with his whiskers. "Now then, your first order of business will be to rid us of the threat of that machine of destruction, the bulldozer." "Papa," said Poppy, "I don't have any idea how to do that." "Well, then you'd best find one," said her father. "Secondly, you need to find a solution for the overcrowding here." "It does seem bad. What about the place I found near Newhouse?" "Never been there. I like it here. Anyway, I'm told it's become just as crowded. Besides, it's Grey House that should concern you. It's your ancestral home. So finally, it's about time you assumed your role as head of this great family, Poppy." "Me? The head?" "Yes, you. You are the one I'm appointing." Poppy stared at her father in astonishment. Perhaps it was because she didn't want to think of what he had said. But the next moment she thought of something else. She had not seen Junior at Grey House. If he was not here, where could he be? That's the end of chapter 18. And on to chapter 19, Junior's Color. In the old orchard, Mephitis woke from his nap. Even so, he lay quietly beneath the warm, late afternoon sun, enjoying his drowsiness and the sun-stroked warmth of his black fur. Only gradually did he allow himself to recall where he was and what he was doing, visiting Junior's family. That caused him to think of his own family, but when he did, his feelings of pleasure faded, replaced by melancholy. He looked about for Junior. When the skunk realized Junior was no longer leaning against him, he became alarmed. Sitting up on his rear legs, he looked about. His best friend was walking toward a bush. "Hey, where are you going?" Mephitis called. "That blackberry bush," said Junior. "I can use the berries to make myself black again. That way, when I tell my mother's family that we're brothers, at least we'll look it." "That's cool," said the skunk, pleased by the idea. Using his tail to balance himself, Junior stood on his rear legs to pluck a large ripe berry. "Come here," he shouted. Mephitis waddled over. "Squeeze the berry down over me," Junior proposed. Mephitis took the blackberry and smashed it between his front paws. When the juice ran down, Junior rubbed it deep into his fur. They repeated this a few times. "How do I look?" Junior finally said, stepping back from the skunk. "Well, freaking weird." "How come?" "Mouse, you're all red." "Red?" "Like a radish." Junior looked down at himself, back and front. "How come they call them blackberries?" he asked. "Don't ask me," said Mephitis. "I didn't name the things." "Maybe I should go to the creek and wash off." "Suit yourself," said Mephitis. "But I bet there aren't a lot of red mice in the world. Know what I mean? Really sick." Junior grinned. "Oh, wow. Do you think, yeah, do I look like I've been dipped in blood?" Mephitis grinned. "Yeah, right." "Nasty," exclaimed Junior. "That'll spin their eyeballs. Skunk, they're going to really hate us now." "I guess," said Mephitis, not quite so enthusiastic. "Yeah, I'm pumped," said Junior. "Let's go." Side by side, they walked through the orchard. Neither spoke, though occasionally Junior looked down at his fur. Greyhouse loomed larger and larger. "Mouse," said the skunk, coming to an abrupt halt, "I've been thinking about maybe that you should go on first." "Alone?" cried Junior in alarm. "Sure. That way you could see what's going down, and I can wait here. Then, if everything's okay, you can come and get me. Look, your Aunt Lily doesn't even want me to come. Probably true for all the others, too. Check it out. I don't mind waiting." "Hey, homie, we're supposed to be doing this together." "We can, only later." Junior turned from his friend and looked at the house. The silence was prolonged. "Hey, Mephitis, want to know something?" "What?" "I don't want to go either." "You turning chicken?" asked Mephitis. "I'm a mouse, dude." "I thought a mouse has to do what a mouse has to do," said the skunk. "Well, I wish my mother never asked me to come." "Yeah, but she did, and you did, so now you're done," said the skunk. "Anyway, your mother will be worried." "How come you're so nervous about my mother all the time?" "Not all the time. Anyway, I like her." "Yo, skunk," said Mephitis. "She's just a mother. Big deal. Let me tell you, nothing special about my mother." He stared at the house. "But if I do go ahead, you're going to stay right here, right?" "Yeah." "Promise?" "I said I would, didn't I?" "Okay," said Junior. "I'll be back fast as I can." "Don't worry about me," said Mephitis. But when Junior didn't move, he said, "What's the matter?" "I'm seriously sorry I came," said Junior. "But you have to. It's your family." "How come you always talk about my family?" said Junior. "What about yours?" Mephitis shrugged. "Mom and Dad got sick and died." "Oh," said Junior, suddenly afraid to look at his friend. "Brothers? Sisters?" "Just me." I thought you said, Mephitis shrugged again. Ever wish you had parents around again? Said Junior. Nah, too late for that, said Mephitis, looking down. Junior felt he should say something more, but was fearful of using the wrong words. Hey, what I was saying about mothers? Forget it. Okay, said Junior. For a moment, neither spoke. Just make sure, said Junior. You wait here. Okay. Embarrassed to think that he had made a fool of himself, and perhaps a little angry that Mephitis had allowed him to do so, Junior wanted to get away. He started for Gray House. Smell you later, he said. Yeah, said Mephitis, and watched his friend go, the bright red fur easy to follow in the green grass. Once, twice, Junior turned and looked back, the last time he waved. As soon as Mephitis was sure Junior was not going to look back anymore, he turned in the opposite direction. No point hanging around, said the skunk. Hey, except for maybe Junior, nobody likes me, not really. Tears stung his eyes. Mephitis, he told himself, face it. Why would anybody like a skunk? Why don't you do the world a favor and go jump in the river? With that, he put his pointy black nose to the ground and waddled off in the direction of Glitter Creek. That's the end of chapter 19.